Guys, what happens when someone doesn't return your event rental stuff? No, that's not the solution. Calm down. So it's Friday, or let's say it's Saturday, and they're renting something for the weekend. They've signed the contract. Number one, before we even start discussing the situation here, what do? Make sure you take the driver's license information, and hopefully, we're doing this now, you take their credit card information. So that at least, hey, you could try to get some money if they're not returning stuff. And at least, hey, you have their phone number, you have their driver's license, you have their address from their driver's license. So you can track them down a little bit, The more information you take, the easier it'll be for you to track down these bozos who aren't returning your stuff. Now, that being said, sometimes, life happens. They get sick, could be health problems. It's not always that these guys aren't returning stuff because of money. Sometimes people do have a legitimate issue. People do die. They get born. They also die. Unfortunately, that happens. So you never know. And so you always want to respect that. And assume that, at least outwardly, because that's what professionalism is. You don't suddenly start yelling at your customer, give me my money or give me my stuff. No, you always want to be courteous. You always want to be nice, because in the long run, that's what's going to grow your business. But we're not talking about that. We're talking like what happens situation-wise. It's Saturday. They picked up for the weekend. They're returning on Monday. Monday rolls around. Closing time, no one's there. You could call them. What I noticed when I sub-rent, most companies kind of call the next day and say, hey, where's our stuff? If they know you, if they know you're, I don't know. It varies a little bit, but I wouldn't call like right at closing time demanding where's my stuff. Give them a day. Otherwise, you seem kind of crazy, Give them a day. Usually, first of all, it's rare for people not to return stuff. Second of all, sometimes this happens maybe every 5% of the time when they're going to return a day late. And it kind of depends on how strict if you're sitting at the countertop and you're like, yeah, whatever, yeah, that's great, sure, return on Monday, whatever. If you seem kind of slack, if you don't seem like you're strict, they're going to play a little bit more. They might return the next day. But hey, if you have everything's strict, you got all their information, it seems most of them will return on the day they're supposed to. But a lot of the times they do return a day late, sometimes 2 days late. So don't freak out. There's very few clients that don't return at all. Very, very few. There are some. It does happen. I would say maybe 1 in 1,500 clients that have come in here. Maybe 1 or 2 haven't returned. And thank goodness it's been on small items. One guy didn't return a table. And I forget something small. Again, he didn't return. And I'm still hunting them down. So it's not over. I guess I had the wrong number for the one guy, but I do have his address. So one guy is like a month ago, and I'm going to go and still try to get my table back. I know it's just a table, but it's the point. And if I ever see that guy, I'm going to yell at him. Hey, why didn't you return my stuff? That guy also asked for a discount. Can you imagine the nerve? He asked for a discount and then didn't return the item. This is what I'm saying. Discounts. Ooh, discounts. No way. Anyway, guys. It's Monday comes around, okay, nothing, don't worry about it. Don't lose sleep over it. Tuesday comes around, give them a phone call. And I guess I'm not telling what you do. I'm just saying the situation, what happens here, what I do. So calm down, this is what I do. Give them a phone call. Okay, no reply by the end of the day, maybe before closing time. Shoot them an email and even maybe a text message. The more kind of forms of communication, these guys are like, oh, they have all my info. Let's return this item. If they're being kind of malicious about it or lazy about it, they're like, okay, this guy's bugging me. Let's return his stuff. Although, again, you never know. It could be a health problem. You never know, okay? Maybe they rented it for their mom, and their mom, has the stuff, but... and then you went back to your hometown in Ontario because you're just here for graduation. There's a million stories that can happen. So don't immediately freak out. Essentially, just try to contact them. Now, it gets a little weird if after 2-3 days, there's still no response. Now you start maybe you want to Google search them. That's what I would do. Um, and lastly, eventually, if there's no response, you try to contact them, you send them some emails. What you want to do is maybe even just drive up to their house if you have their address. And I would, this is what I would do. Knock on their door. It's almost, guys, I just got a call there, and then I rushed out for a delivery shortly afterward. That call took a while, went for a delivery. Now it's nighttime. I'm in the basement of my house. So, where were we? Okay, so if that's really the last resort, is to go knocking on that person's door. But I mean, sometimes it's worked for me in the past for a previous business, where I knocked on someone's door, they answered, and I got my stuff back. So it is kind of last resort. What you want to do is hopefully you can contact them. I've contacted people through LinkedIn. There's so much information on Google. You can always search their phone number. You can search their address. You can search their name. If you have their email, you search their email. And remember, before you even do the rental, make sure you get as much information as possible so that you can use that information to find them, to search for them if for some reason they haven't returned. It will eventually statistically happen that these folks, if they are picking up from you, will just not return for whatever reason, whether it's financial, whether it's health, whether it's mortality, I don't know if that's the right word. But again, if you do your initial due diligence, if you take their credit card information and you take as much information as you can, including their number, including their full name, their full address, and email address, then you have that link in multiple ways to try to find them, to try to reach out. And usually, if you put in the work, you will find them. And again, it's not really that likely. And maybe if for some reason you can't contact them, just charge their credit card if you have it on file. I mean, there will be a chance that none of that works. And that's just how, that's just something that will eventually happen once in a while. But it's so rare that statistically you'll lose money on other things more than on the 1 or 2 no-shows per, the 1 no-show per year or something. So with us, there are a lot of pickups, so we do have a lot of data, and it is very rare. So don't stress yourself out. Again, get as much information as possible. Be kind of strict, and try to have your credit card number. Guys, take it easy. Let's get some business done. Hopefully that was helpful.